there are two kinds of people. One who have become, who have lost their patience, I would say, of wearing mask and controlling their habits for almost 1.5 years plus. Patient was positive for almost a month or more. Though it is because of residual RNA, the viral clearance had taken time, and even symptoms lasted a longer period. Second wave, it was lesser, and third wave, symptoms are disappearing very, very fast.
Hi guys, this is Minidaman and you're watching Hubsite and India.com. A lot has been said about Omicron, COVID-19. Apparently, we are approaching the third wave, or perhaps we are very close enough to the third wave. Amidst all this, today we have with us Dr. Nilesh Shah, Group President of Metropolis, and I think he's here to throw some light on all the queries that we have with regards to the ongoing danger in the country. So, hi Doctor, how are you?
Very well, thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us today, Doctor. I think a lot has been said, a lot is still being said. There are a lot of confusion as to what's going on in the country. Perhaps we are close enough to a third wave, the so-called third wave, or perhaps we are already in one. So the very first question that comes to my mind right now is, a lot of people are saying not to really worry when it comes to Omicron because the symptoms are on the milder side and it's perhaps one of the mild strain of COVID-19. But is it really true? Because there are a lot of cases where people are coming up with, serious symptoms.
So I would say one should worry but not get paranoid. And there is big difference between the two. Health is very important and we should be careful, cautious, concerned, to some extent worried about the disease and getting the disease at all, even if you're fit and fine. But one should not get paranoid that you lock yourself completely and you want to stop your day-to-day activity and so on. Let the show go on, but use all your protections, your mask, your social distancing, what has been mantras right from day, which you should continue. Coming to what are the severity of the situations today, I definitely say that hospitalization is very low. I agree that symptoms are very mild. I agree that death rate is negligible. And these are the reasons why I'm saying one should not get paranoid. But if you're comorbid, you are maybe a diabetic, you are cancer survivor, you are on some immunosuppressant therapy and something, you need to be extra careful about it. Those are the people we should take extra precaution. But again, I would like to repeat, prevention, expressing all your concern about you staying safe is important, but just don't get paranoid. I see a lot of patients, as soon as they give the sample, they are worried. No, sir, please give me report fast. I have to take treatment. They have no symptoms. They have just no symptoms. They're just only a contact, but they get too paranoid whether I'm going to be positive or negative. I think this type of concerning is too much to do, and we should prevent that. That's what I would say.
But having said that, there has been a lot of carelessness also, perhaps that comes in with the fact when you say that it's not so dangerous, it's milder. There are a lot of people who are taking it in a strand that fine, then if it's not so dangerous, it's just like a common flu perhaps. So where can one draw the line as to how cautious you have to be? Because there are people who are complaining, a lot of severe complaining of a lot of severe body symptoms as well. Be it very high fever, be it vomit, or be it dehydration. I don't know. There are a lot of symptoms that I've come across recently from a lot of people. So how can one differentiate and sort of blur the line of cautiousness here?
So people. There are two kinds of people. One who have become, who have lost their patience, I would say, of wearing mask and controlling their habits for almost 1.5 years plus. So they have become extra intolerant and they want to do everything which they have missed for 1.5 years. They may feel that nothing happened to me for 1.5 years and it will not happen anything. And our death rate is so small, hospitalization is so less, new variant is so mild, all this positives news they want to take it, but they don't take actually negative news. that there are people who are comorbids around you. You are becoming a spreader, super spreader for them. It will not affect you, but it will affect them. So in interest of others also, I would urge that everybody has to go by all the guidelines which CDC and our government has been putting up time by time, whether wearing mask or social distancing or 50% capacity in some areas and so on. I think that is very important. It is not only for you, it is for many other people for whom it can become a serious disease. And as you rightly said, there are cases where disease has been fairly serious and they had to take longer treatment, they had to suffer for longer period and so on. So let's be together and be worried about them as well.
पर सर क्या इसका एक फैक्टर ये भी हो सकता है that the CDC itself changed the recommended isolated period as well from 14 to 7. So carelessness या not so cautious होने का एक reason government guidelines भी हो सकती है.
So 7 days period had got two aspects, okay, and the deep thinking I'm sure government officials have done. There are intelligent people on the board, but there are practical aspects and there are scientific aspects. Now let me take up scientific aspects. I remember the first variants and first wave and second wave. I've seen first wave specifically. I've seen where they were recommended to repeat the test. So there were cases where patient was positive for almost a month or more. Though it is because of residual RNA, the viral clearance had taken time and even symptoms lasted a longer period. Second wave, it was lesser, and third wave, symptoms are disappearing very, very fast. Though repeat tests are less recommended, I know in my practical experience, a lot of people have done repeat tests and I've seen viral clearance have occurred as early as third day and second day and fourth day and so on. I have yet to see patients who did the test after 8, 9, 10 days and virus was there. I have not seen such cases at all. Now, since virus is clearing faster, it was fair to reduce the quarantine period. Second thing, vaccination is in place, and that also is helping viral clearance faster. And as you know, the vaccination has been very, very deep and well circulated. Second was definitely practical aspects. Now we know the new variant has been spreading very fast. What will happen to healthcare workers? And you have seen more than 30-40% of healthcare workers at any given time, literally, they are having infection, or they may be asymptomatic, but some are having symptoms also and they are not attending office. They are not attending. Now, if healthcare workers themselves do not attend, it will be big chaos. And same way, we want to keep industry also going ahead. We do not want people to keep suffering financially and all that. So practically also, it was a need that we have a shorter period of quarantine. In fact, I think government has come with very good algorithm where you isolate yourself as soon as you're positive, and if you are vaccinated, you don't even need test after 7th day. But if you're not vaccinated, then do the test, assure that you are negative, then only you can come out. And if you are symptomatic that time, then again you have to continue. So I think that is a very foolproof and nice practical guideline which balances the two. My request to all the viewers would be that this guideline, which has been shortened to 7 days, do not interpret that now we should become careless. Please do not. This has been made more practical. See, everyone was learning in Corona and we are still learning. So early days, it was played much safer. In fact, not 14, in some of the city government, there are 17 days actually. We played safe and it has worked well for us. And now it is time that we can take some liberty. Let's work on it and don't overboard go and take much more liberty than what is there.
So, but talking about vaccines, be it COVID or be it Omicron, both of it, all these strains perhaps, are still spreading rapidly, including among those who are vaccinated. So does that mean that vaccination isn't really working well enough?
No. I think, that's a human tendency to look at only exceptions, the bad news and bad thing remembered first. The statistics shows people who are vaccinated are getting less infection. Majority of infection have come to people who are not fully vaccinated or not vaccinated at all. That is what the statistics shows. Of course, final statistics will come from authorities, but our internal statistics shows that, which was done about a week back, it shows that non-vaccinated people are getting more infection. Now, having said that, I want to tell you about the vaccine a little bit more in detail. That any vaccination you take, whether it is COVID or polio or hepatitis B or any vaccine you take, there will be some percentage of non-responders and there will be some percentage of low responders. Now, people who are low responder and non-responder are still susceptible because they have not acquired immunity. So those people, when they get second infection, people will say, oh, after vaccine also you got infection. Oh, they will get infection because their seroconversion means antibody production or immunity has not come. So I think we have to interpret that this whole fact about vaccination also is not helpful after knowing whole fact clearly. Vaccination is very helpful. Have faith and please do get vaccinated.
Also, talking about immunity, a lot is being said about, that it's slightly possible that Omicron might help us get closer to herd immunity. Is it true?
Yeah, I think any infection which is coming natural brings immunity which is little longer lasting and more comprehensive. It produces multivalent antibody, not monoclonal or specific antibody. So it is helpful of getting an infection and acquiring that immunity. It is helpful. But again, I would say here as well, that statistics shows that if you are infected, 40% of asymptomatic individual after infection may not acquire immunity at all. They don't produce antibodies. And 10% of symptomatic people also, after acquiring infection, may not seroconvert, they may not have antibodies.
But sir, how is it different from any other variant? Because, we, of late for all the other variants, we heard that people are losing out on immunity. The immunity is suddenly, going on the lower end. What is different about Omicron that suddenly, there are talks that it might help boost the immunity or, whatever, bring us closer to the herd immunity? What is different about this variant?
I just want to pick up the word which you use called variant. Now let's go a little bit deeper into variant, and I will not go too technical on this for ease of understanding. Viruses are known to change their genetic makeup. Okay, the constant change of virus keeps happening, and you may not believe that coronavirus also has gone through millions of changes. The change is called mutation, millions of mutation. Now, any mutation which becomes significant when its transmittability is high, where the disease pattern changes, symptoms changes, severity changes, they become variant of interest. We call them as a variant of interest. So Omicron is one of them. But I must say that there have been millions of changes already occurred, which we have not discussed, which have not surfaced because they were not variant of interest. So Delta came, Delta Plus came, now Omicron came. And today also statistics shows that in India, and it is online on GSide, that 65% is Delta Plus and 35% is Omicron. Now, what is so different? Now, we are seeing it. The symptoms are milder with the new variant. The recovery is faster with new variant. Treatment protocol is little different with new variant. Asymptomatic individual number has gone up with this new variant. These are the changes which we are seeing. Coming to your question about what is the difference between new variant and old variant, which I said symptomatically, treatment wise, and so on. And let's now let's talk about immunity side. Immunity side, the old variant I said, which I told about, it produces some sort of immunity. How long lasting is still question being debated. If that antibody will last how long, because all of us, see, I was myself COVID positive and I had enough antibodies, but we went ahead with vaccination. So now what has happened is my immunity is mixed immunity. It is vaccinated immunity and my natural immunity, both put together. So now I cannot be evaluated that my natural immunity lasted how long. So this question probably will stay. Okay, because every individual is taking vaccine. So we have no answer that natural immunity lasted how long. Same way Omicron, I agree that there are people getting infected and producing antibodies, natural immunity. But how long it will last, I think that answer will never come, because we are going to take vaccine still. Okay, but one fact is believed strongly, that natural immunity is stronger. However, one should not solely depend on it. Vaccine taking is important. Vaccine is safe to take. Whatever guidelines keep coming day by day, we should go ahead and take vaccine.
Any tips, anything that you would like to say to our viewers?
I think I want to just tell that handling pandemic situation for government, also healthcare workers, public and private, both, and all the connected people has not been too easy. It's tough time. The only help what you can do is just follow all the guidelines laid for your personal protection. Help people who are in trouble, and help all the people who are actually fighting war against pandemic in big way. Support them in big way, so that we come out of this disease at least in next 3 to 4 months time fully. So my best wishes to everyone.
Thank you so much, doctor. Thank you.